It's here, it's here, it's here. It's heavy. I'm going to open this up out here because I'm probably going to throw the box on the fire. But the other day when I went into the courthouse, now I've been into that courthouse, at least a half a dozen times with these keys. Well, this one time I go in there and you have to set all your stuff in a tray. So I set my phone, my glasses, my wallet, my keys in a tray, and then you walk through a metal detector, which I always go off because I wear bib overalls and there's all kinds of buttons and zippers and clips and clasps. And anyway, this time the lady picks up my keys and she sees my screwdrivers on my key ring, and she says, "Oh, I can't let you take these in there." I said, "Why not?" She said, "Because these could be used as a stabbing device." I said, "Those things are no sharper than any of these keys. But if you think that those are, if you think these are better stabbers than any of those keys are, then just hang on to them, whatever you need to do." So I had to take them off my key ring and give them to her. But all the rest of these pointy, sharp keys were just fine. This is what I mean when you put people who have never had any kind of authority or power in their life, and you give them this tiny bit of authority, and they take that little bit of authority and they use it to reach out as far as possible and affect people with it. And that's just the mindset of those kind of people who are the last people you should give a gun to and some authority. Just like that guy at the voting booth that was yelling at me for asking my wife if she had a pen. And those are the kind of people who are the last folks on earth who should get any kind of authority. And when we get in here, I'm going to get this unboxed and get it in there. I have another story I'm going to tell. It's about motorcycles and fighting. So here is my presentation grade desert ironwood burl. I don't know if I already showed you this or not, because I couldn't have. I got it yesterday. And that is going to be the handles for this knife. And this is white oak with Kydex liners. And the reason I'm using Kydex liners is because the knife is blued. And in order for me to blue the tang, I will have to use a Q-tip and keep the bluing away from the wood. Otherwise, I'll discolor the wood with it. I think I tried a spot somewhere here to see if it would discolor it, and it would. So that's going to be that end. And that will be, that's going to look pretty nice, isn't it? All sanded and blued. I didn't think I was going to be a fan of blue. Oh, Jesus Christ, it scared the crap out of me. My door just slammed shut. Wind. Okay, I'm all right. I'm alive. I didn't think I would be a fan of it, and I am. However, this would look way, way better on highly polished than it would. This is a satin finish, and yeah, I'm not into that on the satin finish. I bet you it would look really nice on the highly polished. So, that's what I'm doing today. Getting these handles on today. And today is Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. I should be able to start sanding on them. And here's my coffee. Let me take a sip and I'm going to tell you the story. Okay, a little bit of a backstory. Quit drinking, God, years and years ago. And one of the reasons was I was not a good drinker. I'm kind of a stubborn person, but I'm also a friendly guy. And I like to laugh and joke and be friends with people. But some people don't like, and when you're around other people who are drinking, you always have them that are looking for a fight. Well, I was the guy, if you're looking for a fight, I'm your guy. I'm a very stubborn person, and I have never in my life started a fight. But there's only been a few occasions when I turned the other cheek and backed down from a fight because, wrong place, wrong time. The cost would have been higher than the benefit. I'm a sensible person. And alcohol, when you're drinking and when you're around other people who are drinking, alcohol tends to dull your common sense and you walk away less often from fights. So here we are. I haven't had a drink in, 20 plus years at that time, 25 years. And my wife and I were on our motorcycles. And we decided to stop at this. We're with a group. Oh, let me tell you about the group. This group of motorcycle riders, it was a riding club, not a motorcycle club. And, it ran the gamut from Vietnam veterans, Army veterans like me, and there were a few of the guys who, the only reason they had motorcycles and liked being part of a riding club is because they could do the pretend fingerless glove, patch on the back. They could do the pretend weekend bad guy thing, And we, endured them. You can't kick people out just because you don't like their their attitude or mindset. And there was this guy, Rick. He was one of them. All the stuff that you could possibly have to show people you're a bad biker. The chain and the wallet, the fingerless gloves, the bandana when it's not necessary. Ride to live to ride, die ride. All this silly crap that people think enhance your motorcycle riding experience. And then there was the rest of us who had motorcycles for the other reason. It was just fun. It was exhilarating. It was exciting. It was, gave you a sense of freedom that you don't get in a car. And it was fun to be around people who like to take, 100, 200-mile trips and go to a car show or go to a restaurant and eat and turn around and come back. It was fun. But there were a couple who only wanted to be a part of this club because they thought it made them look bad to their neighbors and they could wear all the silly crap that they thought made them look badder. Well, Rick was one of them. Anyway, we all were on a little ride, and we decided to stop in this restaurant, cafe, bar. They had a band. So we all stopped in there, and we all had a bite to eat, and I had one beer just to see if I still hated the taste of beer. When I drank, I never drank beer. I drank whiskey. Either Jack Daniel's bourbon or Bacardi rum. That's all I drank. And beer, I hated the taste of beer. I hated the smell of beer. And I never bought beer. So anyway, I bought a beer. So two things. I don't drink, but I went to a place that sells alcohol. And I was around people who were drinking. Two, I don't drink, but I went ahead and got a beer just to see if I still hated it. And yeah, I still hated it. So, of course, a fight breaks out. Not amongst any of us. It was on the bar side of this restaurant. And they go outside, these two guys, and the crowd follows them. And they start their fight out in the parking lot, which just happened to be right beside my $35,000 brand new ultra classic motorcycle. And they would bump into it and they're fighting and almost knock it over. And I went out there, man, and I grabbed hold of my motorcycle and I'm pushing it up against them. And if I hadn't at that time, they'd have definitely knocked my motorcycle over. And my wife's motorcycle was parked next to mine. So now they're up against hers and up against mine and then up against hers. So one of the guys, they were fighting so hard, I shoved them away from my bike. And instantly, I was involved in this fight with two guys. Now they didn't want to whoop each other. Now they wanted to whoop me. So here's how the fight ends up. All the people we were with, they come outside. And these are all guys that are working guys. Some of them are in the Air Force. None of us can afford this kind of trouble. But it just happened. And I only went out there with the intention of keeping my bike from getting knocked over, not to get myself involved in a fight that had nothing to do with me whatsoever. And suddenly I am. And here comes tough guy Rick. And I'm thinking, by this time, I have got a guy in a headlock in my right arm and a guy in a headlock in my left arm. And now I got a third guy on my back. I may have mentioned I'm a pretty big guy. So I got three guys. I can't hit either one of them. And now the guy on my back is hitting me. He's on my back. And so here comes Rick, the tough guy with all the motorcycle tough guy stuff on. You know, I'm thinking, great, at least he can get this guy off my back. And I may have to take a couple of licks, but I'm fixing to punch one of these guys in the face really soon. And Rick walks past me, walks around behind this building that's outside, and in my struggle to stay on my feet with a guy on my back and one under each arm, I look over and I see Rick over there with his cell phone out, hiding behind the building, peeking around the corner, calling the frickin' police. And then my wife is the one that actually saved my ass. She picks up my motorcycle helmet, which had these metal spikes on the top of the helmet, and she starts bashing the guy on the head that's on my back. And she gets him off my back. And by that time, some of the other guys had come over and grabbed one guy and grabbed the other guy. And I actually fell. I fell with a guy on my back and one on each arm, and I fell on my own damn ankle. And broke my ankle. Still rode my motorcycle home. But yeah, that's tough guys, the make-believe tough guys. Just I just thought that was a funny story. And Rick, you know, he had this Fu Manchu. I mean, everything about him was fake, phony, and he had one thing in mind doing it, including his mustache, and that was to have the appearance of being this tough motorcycle guy, you know? This bad biker. But he didn't have the balls to go and join an actual motorcycle club and be one of them guys. He just wanted to pretend to be one of them guys. And, you know, when it came down to it, my wife had bigger balls than he did, you know. She's the one that jumped in and got the guy off my back. And that was funny. And then, of course, the cops show up and... you know, everybody sort of disintegrates into the crowd because, you know, I'm an owner-operator and I can't afford to go to jail. I'd lose my job, I'd lose my truck, I'd lose my brand-new motorcycle, and, yeah, anyway, these guys had been in trouble before, so the cops hauled these two guys off. And I tell them, look, I came out here to hold my motorcycle up. I did not come out here to get involved in a fight. And, you know, turns out later that these two guys were brothers. So when they turned on me, that was, you know, they were doing the brotherly thing, which was, you know, I probably would have done the same thing if it was my brother. And anyway, that was a funny story. And Rick, the tough guy, he did not want to get in a real fight with real people throwing real fists. He wanted nothing to do with that. And he snuck around the corner, got out his cell phone, and was calling the police. And my 5'4" wife grabbed a hold of my motorcycle helmet and beat the ever-loving crap out of the guy on my back. God, good times. So anyway, that was my last beer. I mean, it had nothing to do with it, but it's just going back to all those years that I did drink. Anytime I drank, something like that usually happened. So, there you go. All right, I'm going to finish my coffee, put handles on these knives. See ya.